Now on to the latest COVID-19 updates from around the world. India has gone into a lockdown from midnight yesterday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the lockdown will last for 21 days. Those who flout the lockdown can be jailed for up to 2 years. India recorded over 500 infected cases and 10 deaths. Over in New Zealand, a nationwide lockdown begins at midnight tonight to stop the spread of the virus. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern warned that the police and military will be out to question those outside their homes without a valid reason. She emphasized that they were here to help and people should not be afraid of that. Meanwhile, Thailand has announced a state of emergency starting tomorrow. The decree gives the Prime Minister executive power to declare further measures such as closing buildings, imposing curfews and restricting travel. Tourism is a huge part of the Thai economy. Before the pandemic, travel and tourism accounted for more than 20% of the country's gross domestic product and employed nearly 16% of the workforce. In Singapore, the tourism sector is also struggling to keep afloat amid travel slowdown. Now, joining me now to talk about the impact on the tourism sector is Correspondent Tiffany Fumiko Tay. Hi, Tiff. Now, Tiff, the ban on all tourists coming into Singapore seems like the last nail in the coffin for the tourism sector. Now, STB projected a 25 to 30% fall in visitor arrivals this year, steeper than the 19% decline during the 03 SARS outbreak. How badly are we talking about, in terms of the impact this time?
Well, as you know, tourism is one of the sectors that's really been worst hit by the outbreak, and it's really been hit in waves. So the first was when the restrictions on Chinese travelers kicked in January. Then last month when we went to DORSCON Orange. And again, in the last week or two, as more countries put in place travel restrictions, including Singapore. So things have been getting pretty dire for some. There's a attraction operator here in Singapore that already saw his business drop by about 90% before the tourist ban was announced. And he told me that he's laughing because he's run out of tears. So, segments within the industry, like travel agencies, cruise and events, have really gone to pretty much zero at this point, with everything being cancelled. Some companies are planning to close for a few months. Some are sending their staff for training in the meantime. But folks in the industry say that there will be a wave of closures and retrenchments coming up pretty soon if they don't get help. And a lot of them are looking to the second stimulus package that DPM Heng will be announcing tomorrow.
Well, we'll get to the stimulus package just yet later on. Now, there is a call also for locals to prop up business here, but with the latest strict measures that were announced yesterday, how would it play out now, you reckon?
Yeah, so tourism-reliant businesses have been trying to draw more locals to, help them survive now that there's pretty much zero tourists. They've been rolling out staycation deals, discounts that were really helpful last week during the March holidays. Since Singaporeans can't travel, a lot of them, took up some of those offers, and businesses said that really helped, even though they are still making losses. So the government has been trying to encourage residents to get out and visit attractions, but I think that's now been somewhat overridden by the new rules announced yesterday on the closure of entertainment venues and limiting group sizes and capacities at public venues. So this is definitely not good news for businesses, but many of them, I think, are hoping this will be short-term pain for long-term gain.
Now, Tiff, still on the latest measures, I have to ask, there's some confusion as well as to which establishments qualify as an entertainment venue. Now, authorities have also sent out a warning to nightlife operators planning for a farewell party before the new rule kicks in. Do you have more on that?
Yeah, so the new restrictions kick in at 11:59 p.m. tomorrow night, or effectively Friday. And they'll be in place until the end of April, right? So the authorities have said that entertainment venues, including bars and cinemas, where there is sustained close contact between people, will have to close temporarily. But there is some confusion as to whether this applies specifically to places with public entertainment licenses. So those would be like nightclubs, for example, places with live music, or if it extends to bars that operate as restaurants on restaurant licenses. And Minister Lawrence Wong has also said that casinos fall into the category of attractions, so they can stay open as long as they meet the new restrictions, and gyms and fitness studios as well. So what exactly qualifies as an entertainment venue is something we're still trying to get clarity on. I know malls and attractions are also now trying to work out how much they need to reduce their capacity by and how operations will need to change. As far as nightlife operators, some of them have announced, they're going to be holding these so-called farewell parties today and tomorrow before they have to close for a month. And the authorities are saying like, this is not such a good idea, sending out the reminder that, large scale gatherings are not allowed. And they said that, attending these sorts of events undermines the purpose of these measures. And they warned that officers will also be on the ground to conduct checks and make sure that safe distancing measures are followed.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Tiff, let's go now to the second stimulus package that you mentioned, and you've spoken to some businesses as well. What are they hoping from this second stimulus package that will be announced by DPM Heng tomorrow?
Well, help with rental and manpower has been at the top of the list, at least for hospitality, retail, and F&B businesses. The former chairman of the Association of Singapore Attractions, estimated that those two components make up about 85% of business costs for most attractions here. So it is a huge chunk for them. And there was some help for that in the first package, but businesses say they need more help with cash flow issues and also quicker disbursement of funds. So we've been seeing some of that second wave of aid already. The Manpower Ministry announced some measures yesterday, including foreign worker levy relief, and more help was also announced today for freelancers. So while all businesses and jobs likely can't be saved, hopefully a good number of them can survive long enough to see the recovery.
Definitely all eyes are on the second stimulus package that DPM Heng will announce tomorrow. Well, thank you so much, Tiffany. Now, that was Correspondent Tiffany Fumiko Tay on how the tourism sector is struggling to stay afloat amid travel slowdown during this coronavirus pandemic. Those are our top stories for today. For more news and videos, do log on to straitstimes.com. Once again, I'm Haryanto Diman. Join us tomorrow for more stories on The Big Story.